If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
On this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr., I'll talk about my visit to the WPBA Events in Smyrna, Tennessee, hanging out with some of the pros, having a good time with Nate and Elise, hashtag Long Nate. We'll also be talking about the PBA Tour Finals coming up this weekend, as well as PBA.com and what they need to do to fix it, if it's even possible. We're also going to talk about the controversy that seems to never go away about two-handed bowling and what EJ Tackett said to clear all that up. All that plus the Imbecile of the Week, Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. starts now.
This is PBA champion Kyle Troop.
Hey y'all, Jacob Ledrup here.
Jeff Riggles here from 11thframe.com.
Hey guys, Chuck Ritchie here, formerly of Bowl TV.
Hey guys, this is Ryan Schaefer of track staff at Valley Bowling Center in Waverly, New York.
And you're listening to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Yo, the boys from Straight Up 5, Rad Rob, Dr Ocho, and of course JP Jr.
Pick it out. Fear the fro, baby.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. A hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the world of bowling. This podcast will not only cover all things bowling, but will also give you a raw look into real-life issues. You'll get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this or any other generation.
Strike, and they claim it. Similarly does it.
So without further ado, let's introduce you to the hosts of the show. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Dr Ocho. Dr Ocho. And the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr. Johnny Petraglia Jr.
So I witnessed something before we started streaming, and it's shaken me to its core. I don't know if I could do my normal intro, but let's give it a shot. Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. I'm your host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois. This is episode 119, and I have the unfortunate displeasure to introduce my first co-host. Jesus Christ. He is a man with many masks. He has the largest arms still on this podcast. He is still the resident doctor of Straight Up 5, but he may be identifying as something other than a Mexican-Italian luchador. He is the one and only Dr. Ocho. Ocho.
I don't know what your problem is. I'm not sure that there's any problem here. See, that's what chicks do when they see this. They howl. I don't know what the problem is. You're using your power pauses. Get the show going, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Some things you just I can't say
should not unsee, and
should never see
like this is something that should be embedded.
Should never. It's going to be embedded.
It won't just happen overnight, folks.
You're going to be embedded with Mrs. Ocho tonight, so
let's leave her out of this. This is her dress.
Also joining us somewhere around there is the host with the most, the sexiest man in the world. I love that shirt, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah, I told you would. I knew you would. All it takes is a few minutes, and you love this shit.
It is gorgeous.
He wasn't talking to you.
This is an extremely, I don't want to say extremely vintage shirt because I have way older Brunswick shirts, courtesy of, sponsorships and obviously Dad. But yeah, it's just, I apparently left this here last week or last few times I was here, and I just saw it laying here with my dog's blanket from the last time I brought Evelyn here. So decided to rock it tonight and show a little homage, pay a little homage to the company that's taking care of my family for the entire.
My daughter's asking if I'm her dad right now. That's why. That's the problem. She's a little confused too. I understand.
It seems like that's like a trending thing.
She's doing it as a question. She's like, Dad?
States these days.
Yeah.
She understands the mask. She just doesn't know the,
I think DJ Ricky Smith had been nail on the head. Ocho is definitely in transition.
Yeah. And you just scared Sperona. So.
And you have great tits. Great tits.
Is there such thing as jacked to jacker? I mean, there might be.
I'm not sure.
Jesus. I mean, what do we do? We can.
I'm never jacking again.
I mean, what do we do? What do we do right there? Plant a tree. Hi, sweetie.
Why don't you bring up Gabriella so she can say hi to everyone?
No.
All right, never mind. Thought figured
exactly.
She's in witness protection. We can't show her face.
Nico thinks you're in a midlife crisis. I love it. I knew this was going to be awesome.
Started in 2008.
Good shit. Hi, Rob.
Hi.
How was your trip to your hometown, Smyrna, Tennessee, to watch the ladies?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Johnny. I had a good time at the PWBA events here. They had 3 tournaments. 2 tournaments led up until the finale, which was Monday. They took the top 12 from both tournaments. But you know what? I didn't even see who won because I didn't go on Monday. I know it was a star-studded top 5. Do you know who won that, John?
I know Sherry Tan was bowling against Lee Jane Sin in the title match. I believe Sherry was victorious.
Sherry was lights out the whole fucking week. Like
Sherry's been lights out ever since coming onto the scene. She's a crazy, crazy talent. Nico, I think we're talking about the one in Smyrna, not this past weekend's event in Nashville. But yes, you are right. Congrats to Shannon for this week. But our legend here, Rob Francois of Francois Invoices LLC, was actually in Smyrna, Tennessee to watch the ladder with, I believe we had Lee Jane Sin, we had Verity Crawley, Sherry Tan, Kelly Kulik, I believe, was on that show. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Kelly was on the show with Jillian Martin. Anyway, it was Sherry Tan versus Lee Jane Sin in the title match. And yes, Nico, we're talking about the one that Sherry Tan bowled against Lee Jane Sin in the title match, not the one with Shannon. So my apologies for not recognizing that all 3 events were composed in the same place in the greater Nashville area. But regardless, the whole point of bringing it up was, what was your experience? Obviously, we saw through your posts, Rob, on Facebook that you had the pleasure of hanging out with 2-time guests, Elise Bolton, and 1-time guest, her husband, Nate. What was it like out there watching the greatest the women have to offer in the sport of bowling?
It was remarkable.
Thank you for clearing that up for me, brother. I didn't even know that.
It was remarkable. It was the first women's event I've ever been to. And to see so many of the faces I grew up watching back in the day, especially Liz Johnson and Kelly Kulik, was really, really cool. And it was really, really fun to watch some of the younger women as well. Daria Playok was on the pair next to Elise. Elise was bowling with Kelly. Saw Shannon Plahowski. I mean, it was a who's who. Like literally everybody was there. Brianna Clemmer was there. So yeah, man, it was really cool to watch the best women in the world bowling. And scores were super, super high the first tournament, and went down the second. And Elise was having trouble with her thumbs, and just wasn't comfortable drilling new thumbs during the tournament because she was afraid she wouldn't be able to grip it. She didn't want to take that chance, so she just had to power through it. But ended up doing fairly well in the second tournament and ended up cashing. So all in all, it was a great week for her. And
I've always admired watching the ladies. I know we've said it on past shows. They aside from the talent, they just understand. I don't know if it's genetics, if it's gender, if it's lower rev rate, if whatever it is, they always seem to figure out a way to break down the lanes properly.
Yes.
And when you have that many studs in the field, I mean, I don't know what else to call them, just badass women in the field, and then you give that little bit of extra space that they all create together. It really is fabulous to watch. I mean, Liz Johnson, one of my closest friends for a very, very, very long time. I mean, watching her bowl it's poetry in motion to me. Just it's like watching the same thing over and over again. It's just every single shot. And that's kudos to every single woman that's out there, especially the upper echelon, the faces and names that we're all familiar with, going all the way from, say, a Liz Johnson to a Jordan Richard, a Missy Parkin, Diana Zavjalova, Stephanie Zavala. I mean, they all are so unique, but all so similar in their own. It's really, really amazing to watch.
Watching Kelly in the first block on Thursday was pretty fun. And what I noticed from her is she stayed in play for the first 3 games. Once the lanes came around through, game 4 through 6, that's when she really settled in. The lane came to her and she was like lights out. So she didn't try to make any massive adjustments in the first 3 games. Like I said, she just, like your dad would used to do, just keep it in play. And when it gets to the later tournament, that's when she really just turned it on.
I was just going to say that. I don't know if that's like a Northeast thing or a Jersey thing, or if it's a general thing across the country, the nation, the world, whatever it is. But that was always Dad's mentality. When you have X amount of games in, say, qualifying, and you use those first 3 or 4 games on day one, not necessarily going to try and shoot lights out. You will catch a pattern here and there where it's like, oh, shit, I've got the nuts from the first shot, and I can pop 830 the first 3 and average 260 for the block. That happens to pretty much everybody at some point. But most of the time, especially a seasoned veteran like a Kelly, their main goal is to make sure the thought process there is always, I can't win the tournament on the first day. I can only lose it.
Right.
Like same thing happens in golf. Like you'll see guys par the first 15 holes on day one and then birdie one, and then they're -1 and the leader is -6 after -7, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So you figured out a way to keep yourself within 7 or 8 strokes of the lead. The same thing kind of happens with bowling. It's if you go into the clubhouse after your first block and you got 2 more blocks and you're only 20 or 30 pins outside the number, virtually trying to bowl 9-pin no tap the first 3 games. Like, don't give away the head pin, try not to split, make every spare, bowl a clean game with a couple doubles here and there, bowl 215. You have a chance. And somebody like Kelly, at any time, you give Kelly enough games to figure out how to strike and what not to do. Of course, she's going to come back and murder him on day 2. That was always my dad's mentality too. It's why my dad was never a fan of short format tournaments. It's why some bowlers really, really thrive in, say, a high roller format or a format like the TAT, or events where it's either one game, lose or win or go home, or an event like the TAT where you got 3 games. That's it. So you don't have time to play the 9-pin no tap game. You better figure out and practice a way to bowl 240 and throw a 4-bagger or a 5-bagger. Different minds, the best bowlers in the world have figured out a way to accomplish both. We've talked about that on past shows. But in general, the outlook on it is entirely different when you have a lot of games or a lot of blocks as compared to not having them. So,
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed hanging out with Nate and Elise. Watching the dichotomy between those two, you could tell, like, obviously Nate's heavily invested because it's his wife, but I mean, they also have their YouTube channel that they're promoting and all that. But I mean, watching him watch her and seeing how frustrated he gets when she does bad, but how elated he is when she does good, like, it's a cool thing to see. And Matt Russo was also there with his wife, Lauren. Frank Snodgrass was there as well. So there was a few tour pros in the house. Watching them just hanging out with their wives was a cool thing. But I can't say enough good things about Nate and Elise. Just super down to earth. We went to lunch after the first qualifying block. Just shot the shit for 2 hours. Just quality people. I mean, obviously we've had them on the show before, but being face to face in person is a little bit different than being on camera. Could be awkward at times, but no, I mean, it's like we've known each other for years. That's how cool people they are. And I don't want to bother any of the other pros while they were bowling. I was respectful of them, but like I said, just watching Daria bowl and seeing her crank it. I mean, she's almost as far left as she could, and just her rev rate's obviously the highest, in their league. And seeing her interact with the fans and her friends and stuff, like, a super sweet lady. Everybody was just class, dude. The whole organization of women bowling there, they're representing their sport really well, and it was cool to see how everything worked. And Bowl TV was there, and they do a great setup. They really do. A lot of people want to bitch about them, but I mean, they have some quality people that work for them. And I want to say D-Ron was there because I saw something that looked just like him. And I don't know if it was him, but I didn't want to approach him when they're in the booth. But I got to message him and find out if it was him or not. But all in all, man, it was really fun, and I can't wait to go to another event if they come around again. I would definitely go because it's so different than watching the men. Like, you're right, they have to break down the lanes quicker because they don't have the same rev rate or ball speed or anything like that. So I mean, they really have to do other things to kind of figure it out. And it's fun to watch. I had a good time.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you got to see the sports elite in your hometown.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Nico seems to think you may have seen Emil Williams, who bowled for Lindenwood, actually the year that they knocked us out at the Intercollegiate Championships at the Cherry Bowl. And I know Emil and Sidney Brummett also do the commentary for Bowl TV at those events. So maybe it's all Emil, but either way.
That may have been him.
You seemed like you had a good time, and you did exactly what you had to do.
And Matt Russo is fantastic too. Just walked right up to him. He remembered me from the show. Talked to him for a half hour. He introduced me to his wife, Lauren. She was bowling great as well, and she's super, super nice. So, yeah, man, bowlers are just quality people in general.
Absolutely.
I do want to. I haven't seen Chuck Ritchie in the chat lately, but I kind of want to give your opinion on if you've watched any of his bowling lately or any of his shots. He does post some videos, but he's been leaving a lot of fucking 10 pins lately, a lot of ringers, and he's throwing all kinds of different stuff. And I wish we could pick his brain or pick your brain and understand why he's having, he's throwing the ball fantastic. And maybe it's just pin setters, the lanes he bowls at, but man, I feel bad for him because he is just killing it. But, almost shooting the Dutch 200 because he's leaving so many 10 pins.
I can't really give you exactly what's going on with Chuck Ritchie. I mean, I can tell you in general that bowling is a streaky sport. I mean, there are going to be times where everything falls, and there's going to be times that nothing falls, no matter what you do. It could be something as minimal as maybe he's got to tip his hand an extra degree to make the ball roll a little bit more side to side as it's going down the lane. It could be as simple as staying more up the back of it to create less motion down lane. Whatever it is, it always seems that, and I'll say this out loud because Chuck is a friend, I think that he's highlighting it for way worse than what it is.
Right.
Like we all do. I mean, there's been, I was literally just saying this to Ocho earlier. I bowl league at Carolier, as you guys know, on Tuesday nights. If I bowl upstairs at Carolier, I'm 240 soft. If I bowl downstairs at Carolier, I have a very, very hard time bowling 200. I don't know what to do downstairs at Carolier. I can't figure out a way to throw a double, let alone average half of what I average upstairs. And I have that mental block every single time I go there. So if somebody like a Chuck or somebody else is struggling with carrier or getting the ball to go through the pins with the right motion, you seem to hear it more from traditionalists and older style bowlers who are used to the skid, hook, roll, the three phases of a bowling ball's transition, whereas nowadays it seems to be like hook, stop, bite the lane, stop, bite the lane, slow down. And as time continues and more of the younger bowlers with the new age and the new game and the new way to play this game keep coming out of the woodwork, slowly but surely, every house shot is going to turn into that more and more than what we're used to. Right. Tournament shots as well. Whether it's a 78 hardness or a 72 hardness, it doesn't matter. Whatever they're throwing, bowling lanes are different than they were 15, 20 years ago.
Sure.
No matter where you are. So, Chuck, from all your loyal friends here at Straight Up 5, we hope you stop fucking leaving 9 counts because you're way too goddamn good to be sucking so bad. But I think everybody, just like a baseball hitter, again, I love referencing other sports, right?
Sure.
So like me and Ocho were talking about Giancarlo Stanton. We were talking about how can this stud, like this handsome, beautifully put together man who can hit 500-foot home runs, swing so boxy and look so ugly and have like no smooth purity about him. Right. Meanwhile, somebody like a Giancarlo Stanton, like their batting average is somewhere in the 280 range, 270 range, even 260 sometimes. Okay, they hit 45 homers, but they're batting 260. So, like when you relate it to baseball, like ideally what they say in the sport of baseball is if you bat 300, you're a Hall of Famer. If you can bat 300 in baseball, you're a Hall of Famer. Well, what does that mean? That means every 10 times you go to the plate, you fuck up 7 times. So in bowling, the same way hitters will go through a spurt, this Mookie Betts is 0 for his last 27 at the plate, or this guy's only 1 for 16 against left-handed relievers. Like they're always showing you that stat, like to let you know how shitty it really is for that player. But in retrospect, at the end of the year, the difference between batting 280 and batting 300 is what? A total of maybe 7 or 8 at bats for the year. You convert from an out to a hit.
Yep.
So in bowling, it could be something as minimal or as nominal as, okay, maybe I have to move a half inch up on the approach. Maybe my axis tilt is different than it used to be. Maybe my pap has changed. Maybe my stuff is on my vertical axis line is drilled differently as I'm aging. Maybe I'm using less legs and getting more flippy. There's a million different things. So as hard as it is, and as easy it is to say, it's 10 times harder to actually do. You have to like kind of take a step back and remember that that's always going to be the trend in the sport.
Right.
There were years where EJ Tackett wasn't on every show. There were years that he would miss cuts. There was a time when Chris Barnes couldn't throw a strike when he needed one in the 10th frame on TV, but he made TV fucking 100 times. You know what I mean? Everybody goes through it to some extent. So I guess really in the midst of all of my rant there, the only thing I'm really trying to get at is everybody goes through that. And the guys who keep their head on their shoulders and keep their head about them when all about them are losing theirs are usually the guys that come out on top in the long run.
You're absolutely right about that. I almost lost my train of thought. Sorry.
That's all right.
Shout out to Jack Jurek for winning the Super Senior Masters.
In awesome fashion.
Yes, absolutely. And right now the qualifying after 2 rounds in the Senior Masters, we got Brian Dennis leading with Jason Couch in second, Chris Barnes in fourth. John Janowitz, who's having a great season already, is in fifth. So you got a pretty hot top 5 there. Good to see Jason Couch back up there. He's shooting very, very well. Plus 438 in second. Plus 443 is leading the field. 244 averages. Disgusting after 2 rounds.
I gotta throw this out there now that you mentioned it. A friend of the show, haven't seen him in here in a while, but Mike Harder, a good buddy of mine from back in Vegas. We used to bowl league together and play some golf together. Him, myself, David Haynes, who everybody in the bowling world knows. But I saw today that Mike Harder popped off at 300 at the Masters, and just awesome to see such a good person having success on the pinnacle of the senior circuit on the PBA Tour. So wanted to take my hat off for Mike Harder. I have no idea where he is in the standings. And again, it's the Masters. So basically if you make it, it's I don't want to call it a crapshoot, but it's kind of a we'll call it half crapshoot, half luck of the draw, half what pair are we on, half who am I bowling type shit. So, but kudos to him.
I mean, there's 312 entrants. If that tells you anything, it's pretty crazy. Parker Bone, PB3 also had a 300. Chris Barnes had one. John Colfax and Anthony Jovanovich to round out the 300 so far. But it's funny. I forgot to take a picture of it, but we went to Nashville on Saturday to eat some. They have a deep dish place there from Chicago. A whole family moved down here and opened up 312 Pizza. And outside one of the apartments in Nashville was a real estate flyer, and it had Parker Bone on it. So there's actually a Parker Bone in Nashville I'm sure there's no relation, but
is it spelled B-O-H-N?
Yeah, it is.
It's bone.
No, it's the same spelling, which is funny. I was like, well, I didn't know he got into real estate down here. But
I'm gonna bring in our transitioning co-host here real quick.
Oh, please don't.
I'll be right back.
Ah, boy.
Yeah, I'm still looking good. And so Gabriella's bedtime was 8 o'clock, and now it's not anymore. So it's the shenanigans.
I've noticed as she's gotten older, you've taken more time off from the show during the show.
Well, my pay doesn't reflect it, obviously, because I'm clearly.
Well, you don't software drop as much as you used to, so.
And my pay still hasn't suffered.
Nico said that Troy Lint is on the injury reserve. Yes, Troy. He told me he was probably not going to bowl the next 3 tournaments. He's going to try to get right. So, hey, who the fuck is texting?
Well, that's normally where I come in because I usually give these people advice about how to heal these issues.
Johnny just sent me a message. Hey, Johnny, fan of the show, Johnny Petraglia Jr. Said we're not live on his channel. That's unfortunate. We should be, but we're not. Is that true? I guess that is true. I wonder if I can.
What did you do?
Let me change that. I had to every now and then. I have to reconnect to certain Facebook pages for whatever reason, and I did that today. And I thought I added his it back on. It should go live now. So sorry, Johnny, fan of the show, Johnny.
Hey, way to go!
Hey, you know what?
Who found it? Was it him? Like, because if the host of the show has to find out that you screwed up.
Well, it's not going to tell me, dude, when I go live. But
I'm just saying. No, who told you? Did the guy on the did one of the YouTubers say, "Hey"?
No, somebody named Johnny Petraglia Jr. texted me and said that we're not live on his page.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know. But thanks for that. Anyway, it should be good now. He said traffic was very low. I don't pay attention because we already have 300 people in here anyway. So I don't know what he's expecting. Will you stop doing that? All right, anyway, this is what happens when we don't have a guest. This show just goes off the rails.
What am I not doing? What am I doing that's just bad?
Hello, Stephanie Sheridan. Good to see you here. Happy birthday,
Nicole.
Happy birthday, Nicole.
I love how she doesn't say anything to anybody else.
She did earlier when you were gone. She said hi to me and Johnny.
She did not. She doesn't.
She did. I'm going to go back and find it.
I don't know.
Hey, Chuck is here. Chuck Ritchie, we were just talking about you about 20 minutes ago. We said you're such a shitty bowler that you keep leaving 10 pins. And Johnny said, just stop bowling completely because you're just a fucking hack. So
that's
life
what they
advice.
said, actually. But
life advice. Crambone's here. All right, so our usuals are filtering in here through Mr. Petraglia's Facebook page.
Yeah, now that we're 3/4 of the way through the show, and
now that we're a half hour in, you guys missed.
At least Rob's shitty intro was.
Sorry, everybody. Look at that. He's apologizing for our mistake, even though it was my mistake. Yeah, yours. It was all my mistake.
Cripes!
We weren't really talking about anything important, honestly, other than my trip.
Everything's important. It's bowling, man. We're bringing the sport back to life. This is what we do.
We can start over again. I went to the WPBA event in Smyrna, Tennessee last week. I got to hang out with Nate and Elise. They're absolutely fantastic people. We had lunch. We spoke for a couple hours. We talked about their business of their YouTube channel and the inner workings of Storm and Brunswick and Elise being a free agent, and had a really, really good talk. They're fantastic people. I love both of them. And watching Daria Poyok bowl and Liz Johnson and Brianna Clemmer and Kelly Kulik was so much fun. And the women put on a great show. And Smyrna Bowling Center did a fantastic job as well. They were super good hosts. Everybody had a great time. Congrats to the winners, and it was a cool event. So that's a quick recap of that event. Ocho, I want to ask you a question. Since you're a software drop guy, maybe you can answer this. Why does PBA.com suck so much?
They don't do their software drops properly at all.
They don't.
They have archaic software drops, and it's so like my daughter's playing with a toy that is so far more technological than the PBA website.
Right. Yes.
And it's a fake mini bake oven. Right?
Yes, Pico, she is so strong off the ball. Like, she was playing farther left than anybody else and just cranking it with her ridiculous rev rate. And
but also, why they
nice
suck
lady.
is they don't care. That's the other issue.
No,
they just don't care. There's no archive. I know, right, sweetie? They suck. My daughter is so pissed at the PBA website. They don't archive anything. You can't find, let's just say, if I wanted to find out who threw the most yards for a season, which for Dan Marino held for how many years, and I think Drew Brees beat it. Maybe I know, right? Maybe Peyton hit, I don't know if Peyton or Tom Brady did it, but I know Drew Brees might have the record. Either way, we can look that up easily. If we want to look up some bowling stat, it's impossible to do. Because for some reason, there's no archived statistical stuff except the basics.
If you bowled in the PBA pre-2015, your stats are fucking gone. They're non-existent. You never bowled in the PBA.
So they're not even inaccurate. They're actually just gone.
They're just gone. Yeah.
That's why they put out that PBA the top 50 players list, so they can at least go with that. Am I on it? Did I make the list?
No, you were not on it. Sorry.
Shit. I was 52. That's right.
Sorry, as my Canadian friends would say. The other issue I have with them is they kind of archive too much new stuff. I was looking for the points list and who was going to be in, because I thought there was a discrepancy with the Tour Finals participants this year, as they have a great cast of 8. But I was wondering, why was our good friend Butters in it when he wasn't in the top 10 this year in points, and they take a 2-year rolling total. But when I Googled PBA 2024 player or Tour Finals list, points list, the first result I got was different than the actual list of competitors that they have coming up this weekend. I'm like, what the fuck? So I messaged Jeff Riggles and asked him about it, and also messaged Tom Clark about it. And the issue is, if you go directly to PBA.com and click on the latest results, you'll get what you need. But when you're Googling shit, there was 4 different lists that they had that was just cumulative totals throughout the year and throughout the last 2 years when they take the rolling totals for the Tour Finals. If PBA, whoever runs the website, if they would just delete the old list or delete the links to them, you wouldn't have that issue, and you would get the correct information you would have without actually going to their website, clicking through 15 different fucking pages trying to find what you need. It should come up on Google. Everybody uses Google as the fucking search engine. They shouldn't have 15 different links to fucking spreadsheets that show the fucking point totals. And Tom Clark was like, I had no idea. Thanks for bringing that up. I don't think they're going to do anything about it, but it's really frustrating. And if they want to be treated like a legitimate sport, you don't have this issue with any other fucking website like MLB.com or NFL.com. They need to fix their shit, and it's frustrating that they don't. Johnny, your thoughts on any of that?
I'm lucky that I migrate the PBA site a lot, so I got used to it, but it's very, very, very difficult.
He's also got an elephant brain like Ocho too, so a lot of the stuff gets absorbed, especially because it's a passion of his. So yeah, he should rewrite the record book, because I bet you he's dead on balls accurate.
Thanks, Marissa Tomei. Yeah, I agree that the site is a little bit tricky. Hello. I believe the site is a little bit tricky to migrate, especially if you're trying to catch, say, the last game of a block, and they automatically go to just the standing sheet for that block. So I have to go back and click the previous round to actually see the scores of your favorite bowlers, of the people you're following.
Yeah,
that's annoying. They don't make it clear cut how the fifth guy makes it. You got one little snippet that says hey, the highest qualifier that loses in this round becomes the 5th seed on the show. It's everything about the site to me is a little bit. It's just tricky. I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's certainly not as easy to migrate around as easy as it is to say the PWBA website or any golf leaderboard or the standings in the NL East. Obviously, we know the Mets are not on top because they're fucking garbage.
We know the Yankees are because they're not garbage. Just saying.
Anyway, but yeah. Other than that, let's see. What did Chuck say here? Yeah, exactly. It's Stephanie and Chuck both hit the nail on the head. They both know what to do, but Chuck says it's not easy to navigate. Steph says it's very user unfriendly. And those are two bowlers, good, talented bowlers. Talk about somebody who has no idea and is trying to get into bowling. Like, what the hell are we going to do here?
Right.
It needs some work. It's
a simple Google search gets you to 90% of what you need, but for some reason in bowling it doesn't. It
really doesn't.
You traverse around all these hack sites, and not hacks, but like it's bowling balls, and you can't find the stats you need.
You're exactly right. And points for using the word traversed correctly as well. So
every vocabulary.
Good job on that, Oach.
Yeah.
But the Tour Finals is coming up this weekend. I am looking forward to it. They have the top 8 from the last 2 years in rolling point totals. Good to see Butters there. A lot of people were questioning why he was there. Well, he had the right to be there in the top 8 over the last 2 years. So I asked you, like, why wouldn't Boog make it and stuff like that? And, you're like,
I as in-depth and my knowledge and my historian knowledge of bowling kind of caters more to yesteryear. And
right.
I'm kind of thrown off by this comment over here. Chuck, nobody said you suck. Actually, we called you like a professional's professional. We just said that stop leaving fucking 9 counts and get your goddamn head right.
Oh, I misinterpreted what you said. And while you're on break, I told him that you said he sucked.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah, that's what
we can just blame you because the only person I've ever said that sucks is
Doc Sullivan.
Brad Miller doesn't. Brad Miller doesn't even suck. I mean,
oh no, he sucks.
Doc Sullivan sucks.
This guy sucks.
I have to apologize to Brad Miller. I thought he was ghosting me because when Jeff Skyers saw him and asked him to be on the show down in Florida, he said absolutely he would, and he gave him his phone number, and I texted him twice, and he never answered me. Well, it was the wrong phone number. Dipshit Jeff wrote it down wrong. So apologies.
Rob. Maybe it was a hint.
Apologies to this guy on the right there. I know Johnny is dying to talk to him. But,
I don't want
him. But yeah, no, Tour Finals coming up. We got Belmo, we got EJ, we got Simo, we got Kyle, we got Bill O'Neill, Patrick Hanahan, Butters, and who am I leaving out? Is that was that 7? Did I forget somebody? I'm sure they will. Maybe. It's going to be on CBS instead of Fox, which is weird. See, that's another fucking thing. Like, you have a contract with Fox. No one's mentioned CBS Sports all year, but for whatever reason, they get the Tour Finals. I mean, that can be a little bit confusing too.
They do the summer thing, don't they? Normally, is that 6-month thing? Or
back in the day when they
years. So
when they had a summer
the
tour,
women's bowling is on CBS Sports normally too, right?
No.
Sports Network, yes.
No, they're on both TV.
To answer Nico's question, of course, we'll have Brad on if he wins.
Oh, absolutely.
If he wins,
we would love to have. We love having first-time champions on the show.
I would have Brad on if he lost. I'm just saying, but I know majority rules though. I lose.
No, because you're a quality guy, Ouch. So
well, that's the thing. I mean, technically, it's 1, 2, and I'm
guy.
1.
I just thanked everybody.
2, 3.
I just apologized for our mistake as far as the stream, and he's a quality guy. Cripes.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no. He's
majority rules because I got
Ocho is a man of integrity.
Army buddies with me.
What is hashtag short Rob, by the way?
The opposite of long Nate.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
See, yeah, makes sense to me.
That's kind of funny. And there's got to be some truth to it because there's truth in every joke.
Yeah. No, I'm 6'2". It's not what we're talking about.
Hi, Emerald. I'm not sure if they typically don't televise tour trials. Most likely just realize that they're actually having a tour trials again. I didn't even know that, which is badass. Again, probably would have found it on the website had I done better. Chuck Ritchie confirms it will be streamed on Bowl TV.
Thank you, Chuck Ritchie, formerly of Bowl TV. I don't know why they don't hire you back. You were you were the guy. You were the glue that held it all together. But no, I'm just kidding. I love Bowl TV and what they do. They should just have you there again. Day 1, show 1 of PBA Tour Finals is going to be live on CBS Sports Network. Look for it in your local broadcast cable package or whatever if you have CBS Sports
Rob, do you
Network.
have somebody you'd like to see take it down and why?
if I had my druthers, I forgot Marshall. How the fuck can I forget Marshall motherfucking Kent?
How can I?
Plus 200 dump.
The plus 200 8 a.m. dump.
So I'm conflicted because we've had many of the guests on our show, and usually when I have them on the show, I'm like,
fucking Stan's here. God damn it.
Stan's here. Jesus Christ. We know Stan doesn't want Belmont to win, but I don't want. If you go momentum, I think Kyle has a really good chance of taking it because he's.
I don't know who you
super well.
think is going to win. I want to know who you want to win and why.
God damn it.
Emerald will win. I see her freaking press the shit out of league every freaking week. Yeah. I think Emerald will win this whole thing.
Emerald is my new teammate on Monday nights for the winter.
I want
to win.
Thank God.
About time.
Actually, I have to win at Howell Lanes now.
You got a bowler on your team for once.
God. And like a normal, cool person. Like just awesome.
Wait, I'm not a normal, cool person.
We don't bowl league together.
That's not the point.
I want Butters to win because Butters had a subpar year based off his past few years. I'd like to see him gain a little bit of mental clarity and confidence heading into next season.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And that's kind of pressurized. Not pressurized. Like, you come out of the shoot like he did. I mean, he had 3-4 years straight where he was making a ton of shows, and like, it's got to be so freaking hard to come out with the bar set so high, but realizing, wow, it ain't that easy because there's still more and more talent coming out, and you're like, man,
it's hard enough
just to get there.
It's hard enough to make a TV show, let alone make an event where you got a couple games against the 8 best players the sport has to offer.
And you're expected to be there. Like, it's like, oh, wow, Jacob Buttriff didn't make it. I wonder what the lanes were like. And then these guys have to deal with that. That's the damnedest thing, man. The mental frig that they're like, I'm doing the same shit, but maybe I got to work harder. I don't know. And there's just that much talent. And what did we say? Like, the separation from all right, we know the top 2 guys, but still the separation from that and the top 40. And I'm making a good point too.
Sorry.
I'm making a good point. Is minuscule. It's just funny when the top guys averaging 232 and, guy in 50th place is averaging, 224. You're talking 6. Well, 6 is a lot actually, right?
6 pins a game is a lot. Absolutely.
So, but
especially over the course of a long format.
So maybe that's what, but still, it's almost like in golf, the same thing. The difference between the number 1 guy and the number 50 guy is probably 2 bogeys a freaking round or something like that.
Yeah, but you see, this is the problem, and we actually going back to what Kevin McCune said last week. We're always talking about how hard it is to make money on the PBA Tour. I remember Kevin McCune saying a couple weeks ago or last week that there's like 7, maybe 8 or 9 guys that actually make a decent living out there, right? Whereas compared to golf,
if you're number 100, you're still
in golf. You shoot even par for the rest of your life, you're a millionaire in less than 5 or 6 years.
Way more, you have every luxury in the world and every sponsor, and that it's such a difference.
It's a totally different ballgame when, say, I'm going to try and pull somebody here that people know, but let's take somebody like even Dio Bernard. The year that Dio Bernard had here on the PBA Tour, aside from his 1 win, if he was a golfer that 1 year, he's pretty much set for life.
He's exempt for probably 5 years.
He's exempt in certain events to do it all the time. I mean,
and now the sponsors are now again. I still remember this. I hate to say it. I probably said it about 15 times, and it bears repeating. I think it was 1971. Your dad led the tour in earnings. You do. And I think it was probably 90 grand, 89, which again, 1971. So here's the point. Johnny Miller led the PGA Tour, and they had more tour stops, not many more, but obviously more. There's still more fans, more sponsors, but it was comparable. And it was about, I think, 300 grand. So it was about a 3-to-1 ratio. And it was like that for a long time. And then all of a sudden, golf clearly exploded with Tiger. But at the same time, the deficits in bowling hit. So there's definitely not a 3-to-1 ratio. And it happened so fast that I think nobody knew how to, put their foot back on the gas to get it back to normal.
I mean, that's actually a great question from Wayne, and we'll get there in a minute. Emerald, before Emerald and Wayne, because what you were actually just saying was
that was it. It was just a comparison.
They made a reference in the classic film Happy Gilmore, in like one of the greatest fucking films ever made.
I never saw that movie. It was good.
It's a good one.
I should check it out.
When Happy gets on tour, and he's talking to the chick, Virginia Venet. Whoa, I love that movie.
Public relations lady.
Virginia says, "Cheer up! Next week's winner in Portland takes home $216,000 for the win."
What does last place get?
And he asks that, and she says $2,400. And he goes, "All right, no matter what, I'm going to make some money." $2,400 for last place in a film about golf that was made 25 years ago. I can't believe Happy Gilmore's been out.
But what bothers me is that she didn't say is he didn't miss the cut. If he don't make the cut, he'll make any money.
Right. But what bothers me is the guy who finishes 7th place in a PBA event gets 24 or like say 3,000.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's what makes it horrible and that's when we're trying to relate to it. Oh, this baseball player makes $100,000 a swing, or this baseball pitcher makes a couple $100,000 for every out he gets, or how many innings, and yada yada yada. A bowler, only 6 bowlers, only 6 of the greatest players in the world beat me this week. And I have enough money now to pay for my hotel, my food, my travel, and my entry fee next week.
It's a wash almost.
It's fucking gross.
But now, and remember what Belmo said. Belmo on our 101th show, that's what it was, right? Because I think our 100th was Robert Smith, our 100th was Belmo. He said nobody's bowling anymore for money, which not that I don't know if anybody did anyway. It's just that it got good for a while. But people are bowling because it's their passion. And that's the most noble thing. And that's why Belmo has such respect for everybody out there in the lanes, regardless if he freaking bashes their brains in or not. He's like, this guy's out here not for the check. He's out here because this is what he wants to do for a living. And a hard living it is.
Why didn't you just go home? That's your home. Are you too good for your home?
Answer me! Suck my white ass, ball!
I guess.
So while we're on this kick, I have a special request that has nothing to do with bowling and everything to do with Happy Gilmore and Shooter McGavin, only because I see my league teammate in the chat right now. So for anybody that actually has children watching this, I'd like you to do me a favor. If you don't mind hearing this, go right ahead and let them stay there. But I'd like to play you a video of our very, very, very good friend. And the reason I'm playing the video is not only to make you guys laugh, it's also to let you know that we are fully aware of the rules of golf. So anybody that feels like saying, there's no reason he should have hit that shot, you can just fucking leave, because this is all for entertainment purposes only. And the whole reason we're actually bringing this up is because of what happened in the aftermath. So
you don't have to leave.
You don't have to leave, but we would really, really, very, very much like
you. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Right.
Hey, you guys in the chat, stop staring at me. I see them. You see the chat? They're staring at me, too.
I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing.
Not really happy about this.
Johnny sends me a request to play something and then thinks I can just pull out of my ass in 3 seconds.
I know you can because you're amazing.
You got a big ass, too.
I do have a large ass. Yes, I do. Give me 1 second.
So should we do hashtag Big Ass Rob?
You're such a dick.
You showed me this, too.
Have you ever seen the video, though? Yeah. All right, good. All right, well, this one goes out to my good friend Tad Jones and what ensues afterwards. Rob, you got it?
Not yet. Keep stalling.
Okay. Well, and in the meantime, as always, thank you all for being here. This is certainly a bullshit session and definitely a real-time, real-life Johnny Ocho and Rob Francois Industries. And while I have a moment, I would also like to extend a very, very happy birthday to Rochelle back in Vegas. So
happy birthday, Rochelle.
We have to do that. She'll probably never hear it, but it's
she'll never hear
I can do.
It's the very least you can do. By the way, you guys filibustered for about 45 minutes. I never got to answer who I thought was going to win this weekend.
Sorry about that, Rob.
He's not your fault. It's too long to answer.
I have several scenarios that I want to see. That's the issue. I want what Johnny said. I want Butters to win just to prove that he's still got it and to kind of give him the mental clarity and the confidence again that he can still bowl on the top level of the elite. I want Belmo to win to prove that he still has it, because a lot of people are putting him down this year saying, oh, he didn't have a Belmo-like year. Nobody has a fucking Belmo-like year except for a handful of guys, EJ and Simo. Right.
And Belmo.
And honestly, Kyle, too.
And the late great Mark Ross.
Oh, Roland, I'm sorry, the site's down right now. Too many people logged in. I'm sorry. So
John Sperone, if we can get it to work, oh yeah, you know what video.
No, I got it. I got it here in a second.
All right, good. I'm actually going to watch this from outside just so I don't laugh and puke all over the goddamn television. Good luck.
Okay, that's fair. It's processing. It's uploading.
It's happened before. I had to clean it up.
I also want Marshall to win. I mean, Marshall.
Just make sure you show the picture after the video.
Sure. Yeah. I'm all over that. Where's the picture, Johnny? Where's the picture, Johnny? Oh, there it is.
Should I do this at least right now for a little bit?
You can do all you want. Marshall's having to come back here, so it'd be nice to see him win. Packy, I mean, everybody knows who he is, but I mean, it would put him on the map as an elite bowler if he could win the Tour Finals. I mean, there's so many different scenarios. It's going to be fun to watch. Bill O'Neill has been up there making shows all year and had one title, but I mean, like,
what's good is there's a group of like probably 10 or 12 guys you could pick from, and it's not like it's just a one or two. They're going to dominate. There's a good freaking, I would think, I'm off the top of my head, 12, 13, 14 guys maybe, like where you could rationalize. It's not like it's
absolutely.
It's a full-on whitewash with just two people, because we always, we talk EJ, Simo, Belmo, but yet, again, this year proved different.
It did. There was a lot of first-time winners this year, and a lot of bowlers that used to be on top came back this year. So I mean, it's been a fun year to watch everybody. So I'm looking forward to it. I do have the video that Jonathan gave me, so let me pull it up here. Is it done uploading? Restream takes forever to get this shit done. So there we go. All right, here is the I'm just gonna play. There's no building this up.
Perfect draw. Chunk of 3 wood. 20 yards this way on the fairway. 30 yards that way. Lovely. My fucking ball ends up right here. And this fucking puddle, I'd say it's 2.5 feet wide. You gotta be shitting me! But as we play here, in this beautiful foursome, you play it where it lies. Alright, let's do it. Fucking cunt. I mean, can I put my club into the puddle? Yeah, casual water, absolutely. Okay, good. Oh, that's fucking great. Fucking dick. Look at this shit. Are you fucking kidding me? Fucking Callaway Diablo right in the fucking puddle. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
What the fuck?
I fucking missed.
That is so fucking good. That is
If you've never played golf, that's funny. I don't care what anybody says. That is so goddamn good.
I gotta play that again. I'm trying to. I want to get it on the screen.
Just put the ending in though, at least.
Well, I want to get it on the screen so we can commentate on it, because that was just fucking. That was.
Well, I think all the commentary was done like clearly. Now, again, what Johnny was saying before was yes, that would be an unplayable. No, they call it unplayable lie. It's not your fault for hitting it straight down the middle. They call it lift, clean, and cheat. Basically, it's lift, clean, in place in the puddle in the middle of the fairway, but. It's still, just like Happy Gilmore says, you play it where it lies, motherfucker.
Dude, that was so good. That was also retweeted or reposted. I think it was retweeted by the actual Shooter McGavin. It's thrown up there right there. My man just can't catch a break. So yeah, speaking of Happy Gilmore, can you see the picture? Is it on the screen?
Sure. Now, is Shooter McGavin actually in character and set up a Twitter account, or did somebody just parody him and get the blue check mark? Because I don't know if either way, I don't want to.
That's a good question, but either way, that's pretty fucking badass.
But I forget the guy's name. Nathan Hale. No, that's the skipper from Gilligan's Island.
Nathan Hale.
I was way off.
Ocho.
I knew it started with an N.
You really say Nathan Hale?
That is the skipper, right?
It's the skipper, but Jesus.
Where the fuck did I get that from?
I don't know.
Shit, now I gotta check. All right.
Hold on. Here we go. I gotta watch
it. Chunk of 3 wood, 20 yards this way on the fairway, 30 yards that way. Lovely. My fucking ball ends up right here. In this fucking puddle, I'd say 2.5 feet.
This is so good.
You gotta be shitting me! But as we play here, in this beautiful foursome, you play it where it lies.
Now, I thought you don't ground your club in the water either. So when they gave him that thing where he could ground his club, I thought that's a stroke penalty too.
Just his own commentary of everything is just.
You don't ground your club. You don't ground your club in the. It's not out of bounds. The red.
It's not even real water hazard though. Like it's just it's a puddle, right? Like that shouldn't count as a water hazard.
Well, no, that'd be a 2-stroke penalty. Oh, that's even better. That's an even better one.
Oh god!
Oh my god!
You should have had the metal spikes.
Yes.
I fucking pissed.
The guy said he pissed himself too.
Oh man, that's too good. That's too fucking funny. What did JD say? It's the real guy. That's just his character Twitter account. So that's cool.
Christopher McDonald, and Alan Hale is who, because I was corrected by Chuck Rich. Was it Chuck Ritchie? No, who the fuck? Someone. Yeah, Chuck Ritchie.
So yeah, he reposted on X. That's fantastic.
Good for him.
That is really cool. What did I have next here? What was next on the docket? Oh, so one thing. Remember this, guys? We all remember this one.
Westchester County Fair.
Hey, love that place.
As do I. We've been there many, many times. But this is their new logo. Apparently, that's just.
Oh, I don't like it. Well, this one sucks.
Yeah, it really. It just doesn't have the same. What's the word I'm looking for?
Dick and balls.
Yes, it does not have the same dick and balls.
It doesn't have the same aura.
It really does.
The other one.
Bring back the original. Yeah.
See this? This speaks volumes.
It does.
This actually makes sense to me. I even like that. This will never, ever, ever, ever die. Nothing compares to the Union County Fair.
Nothing.
Period. End of story.
Including the logo. It just doesn't have the same flair. It's unfortunate, but so obviously there's always been controversy about bowling two-handed. But Belmo posted this picture recently, saying, "Look, Mom, one hand." Obviously, you can see his free hand, left hand, off the ball. He releases the ball with one hand. So EJ Tackett decided he wanted to kind of clear everything up here. If I could find the right picture, somebody here.
I like this post.
I love this post too.
I actually even commented how much I like this post.
If I could find it, I'll. God damn it!
Yeah, once you get there.
Now this is one thing that Restream needs to clean up because I can't see the little fucking thumbnails.
Just don't show them the naked pictures that I sent you.
No, I wouldn't. No, that's just for me. Where the fuck did I put EJ's response? Great. Now I don't have EJ's response. Well, let me just read EJ's response.
All right, good. Excellent.
Because he hit the nail on the head, which is something that a top pro like him should do. He said, I've had many arguments with folks folks, as Ocho would say, about this very exact thing. And my point is, where is the statute of limitations? Technically, I start with two hands on the ball too, and my left hand just comes off the ball earlier than yours does. So are we all two-handed or are we all one-handed? Out of current players I know of, Brianna Klemmer is technically the only true one-hander since her entire delivery start to finish only has one hand on the ball. So just bowl in a way that you can enjoy the game and gives you the best results. Obviously, there's Bob Learn Jr., there's a couple others, Wayne Webb. But, I mean, current
Roger
players,
Bowden.
yeah. I mean, like, and then somebody in the comments had to say, well, Brianna picks up her ball with two hands and sets up her
there's
ball.
always assholes, Rob.
Fuck off, dude. Like,
there's always assholes, man.
No, there is. But EJ's right. Like, and Belmo's right, too. I mean, honestly, the second hand holds the weight of the ball, and it's more of a balancing thing, which is also why Brianna keeps one arm out.
It's a guidance chip. We've talked about this in past shows, and somebody who's actually willing, like, to evolve would, or like, wants to at least try and understand evolution when it comes to bowling, understands that the two-handers that don't use their thumb, the second hand that's on the ball is acting as the guidance chip. It's doing the exact same thing the thumb hold does for a traditionalist.
Yes.
I mean, the same way that the thumb is virtually worthless when it comes to rotating a bowling ball. All it does is give you stability, right? So
exactly
the second hand that's on a ball, how you doing, Tino? The second hand that's on a ball, it's there to be that guidance chip to allow the player to execute the same shot repeatedly over and over again. And this game is all about repetition, always. And I've said this since day one. I said they're only two-handed until the release point. There are not two hands on the ball when they let it go. I'm kind of a hybrid when it comes to the whole lefty-righty debacle, the same way I am when it comes to anything. I'm pretty much always neutral. I like to hear everybody's opinion and stand on whatever they have to say because, truth be told, 9 out of 10 times I learned something. I either learned something about the person I'm talking to or I learned something about something I don't have enough knowledge about. Like, if people want to talk to me about nutrition, weightlifting, bowling, I can talk to you all day. I will listen to what you have to say. Those are 3 things I'm extremely, extremely passionate about. But and because of that, I'm always willing to learn more shit that has to do with that.
Right.
It's very, very rare that I would ever just shut down or shit on somebody's views on something because it's different from what they're used to. Right?
Right.
So when it comes to two-handed bowling, the thing that I've always agreed with in my brain is that the hand just becomes the thumb for a two-hander. Always. I mean, and me being a thumbless bowler, I really don't have my guidance chip is my forearm. So is Tom Doherty's. Like our bowling ball rests. Our guidance chip is this part of our arm. It's how can we keep it stable here, even a Mike Miller. And the reason you don't see most no-thumbers with a high backswing is because that guidance chip quits after a certain level. Once we get up to a certain level, without having a thumb in the ball, it's very, very hard to maintain control, hence repetition. What the two-handers have figured out is not only, oh, shit, my rev rate's going to be higher, my speed is going to be just as good, if not higher. I never have to buy 1-inch white tape ever again. I never have to patch a thumb. I never have to soak my thumb in a potato because my calluses are so bad. I don't have to worry about the fluctuating temperatures or humidity when I go from the east to the west coast. The amount of elements that you take out of the game by eliminating this from the bowling ball is astronomical. Right. And that's actually what separates the two-handers from the one-handers. Imagine going into a bowling alley and not having to worry about a single thing that I just mentioned. And you're the best bowler in the world or one of the best bowlers in the world. The game is now different for you. And everybody else, no matter what they do, they're not going to be able to do what you're doing. And that's what scares the traditionalists. It's what deters the standard bowler from bowling because the same way a left-hander walks into a bowling alley and knows at the start of a tournament they're either going to win or not cash. A traditionalist walks into a bowling alley and they know in the first 10 shots of practice, I'm not going to be able to throw it over the cap in game 3 on day 1.
Right.
Let's take Ryan Schaefer, one of the best talents the game has ever seen. A true journeyman pro, like most decorated. when it comes to bowling when he fucking has to. Makes every fucking major telecast. And despite the fact Ryan has always been opinionated, right?
Yeah.
And, like always. But
Yeah.
Ryan is opinionated, but then goes out and still does it. It's okay to be opinionated. It's okay to disagree with the way something is going, but he still goes out and does it. I watched Ryan Schaefer lose a tournament on string pins because the strings didn't allow the messenger to get across the deck. Now, granted, they know this already. Like, it sucks. String pins to me sucks. I'd rather go play fucking skee ball on the shore. Honestly, I'd rather do that than pretty much anything. But, like, you understand what I'm trying to get at here, and I'm assuming everybody in the chat does also. Hi, Tammy. And Tammy, it's okay that you're late because we were late to the ball. We actually didn't even go live on our page until really late, which I apologize for. But thank you, as always, for being here, as well as everybody else in the chat. It's going to be an ongoing thing, at least for a little while. But what eventually is going to happen is there's going to be that like less than 10 percentile that continues to bitch in a world where that is the new norm.
Right.
So you can either fight it and continue to fight it and continue to argue with it, or you can like look at the picture that Belmo posted where he writes, "Look, Mom, one hand." Like anybody who's at least willing to try and absorb some new information should be okay with that. And they should understand that, at least to some extent. And we're not talking about Belmo and Belmo and Simo and Kyle Troop in the right light. What we should be talking about is going back to when we were talking about money. We were talking about Tiger Woods on the golf tour. Like when Tiger Woods came out on the golf tour, aside from completely reinventing the game, Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson were the only guys that could hit the ball 300 yards back in the late 90s, early 2000s, which is why the whole storyline was always Tiger and Phil, Tiger and Phil. David Duval gave it a fucking shot, but David Duval was never going to be Tiger. Couldn't hit it far enough, right? Look at everything that's happened in the sport of golf since Tiger showed up. It's exactly the same thing that's happened in bowling since Belmo showed up.
Right.
He spawned an entire new generation in a world where something that wasn't cool is now cool to some extent, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
I prefer to look at the pros of what these guys bring to the table. And that's not because, like, I got a hard-on for guys like Simo and Jason. I have a hard-on for those guys because they innovate and everybody else imitates, just like Brunswick's old-ass slogan. Those are the kind of guys that have figured out a way to not only reinvent the sport itself, but to take advantage of what the sport has to offer.
Right.
To me, that's sexy. Any way you do it, in any sport, all the time, anytime. So do I walk into an event and know that I probably have not a very, very good chance to beat, say, a Jesper Svensson or a Matt Russo or even a Jacob Buttroff, even though he's a one-hander, he's a fucking weird one-hander. We love you, Jacob. But he's like one of the best traditionalists, so to speak, that I've ever seen on the left side of the lane. And I don't want to hear anybody say anything about the Purple Hammer. Get the fuck out of here. He's one of the best fucking bowlers I've ever seen. And the hardest part for me is being in a world where everybody is so quick to be judgmental and shitty about everybody else. I bowl because I love bowling. I've never, if anything, I actually watch bowlers bowl and I want to see like, man, that guy is really, really good at throwing it straight. This guy's really, really good at hooking it. That's a really good two-hander. This kid can throw it back up two hands. It'd be like, I'm mumble jumbling again, but you understand where I was going with this because I really, really like that post you made, Rob. You know?
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have the old guard, the traditionalist, which, look, I'm one of them. There's certain aspects of bowling today that I don't agree with, but I mean, the object of the game is to knock down as many pins as you can, whether you're throwing it three legs, one-handed, two-handed, backwards. I don't give a fuck. Have your dog roll it down there with his nose. I don't give a fuck. Why people bitch about it is because they can't do it. Like, especially with guys like Belmo and Simo and Troop, they're just fucking jealous. And that's all. Like Stan hates Belmo. It's whatever. He has his reasons. Who gives a fuck, right?
Look, man, you want to dislike somebody for your own personal reasons. I have no problem with it. You want to talk about it. I have no problem with it. if you want to bash an entire generation that was spawned by somebody who's actually giving the sport a fighting chance to not only be good, but also be on television frequently with six figures, that's pretty badass, right? Tammy boy, I saw your comment down here, but I didn't see anything about people bashing Kyle. If you could tell us in the chat, bashing Kyle for what? Because you want to talk about a saint in every single aspect. I mean, Kyle Troop is the Mike Trout of bowling, Gronkowski of bowling. He's just like a great, perfect person all around. So to me, I would actually be very much interested to see what asshole has something shitty to say about Kyle Troop. Because I would just like to publicly humiliate them. So if you got it, best friend, we have to bring up the best friends. There she is. Hi, Queen. And thank you so much for the most epic Memorial Day party ever. Love you so much. Steph says, the guys who bash and bitch truly do not realize this is how these men and women put food on their table. They're doing whatever they need to do to pay their bills, no matter what it looks like. And at the end of the day, and as we spoke earlier about when it comes to monetary value of the PBA Tour, imagine going to work. You work a 9-to-5 job, like my job. You work for DraftKings, right? You got 40 hours a week. You get X amount of time paid vacation, right? Could you work and your boss calls a meeting and says, guys, got to let you know we're going to have to work a little bit extra this week, but you're not going to get paid for an additional week because we're doing budget cuts and we have to rearrange money. So thanks for being here. But, you know, if you don't work the way that you've been working for your entire life, we're going to have to let you go with it. Now imagine that you have to pay your mortgage, your rent, supply some food for not only you while you're out on tour, a little bit of entertainment here and there, but you also have to take care of your wife and your kids and everything else back home. Isn't it like that these guys go out there and if they have, say, a run of 3 or 4 consecutive bad weeks, that now all of those things are making them even more – forget about having to beat the best players in the world in a bowling tournament. Now you got to beat the best players in the world with that burden on you. That's scary. It's a like Boog said several times, Boog Kroll. You guys don't even fucking realize how hard it is out there. I tried it for half a season, and I knew in half a season, if I ever want to do this professionally, I not only have to commit 100% of my time, I have to commit 100% of my time the way I do. Like, I can't lift weights if I drink alcohol. I can't do it. Alcohol completely inhibits the recovery process. It causes dehydration. Everything that it does completely takes 2 steps back for one day at the gym. So if I want to go and drink alcohol one night, I know that I can't go to the gym for 2 days. It throws off my entire rhythm. And that's only just for me. That's not money. That's not taking care of my family. That's like just me. These guys are out there all day, every day, working their goddamn asses off to try and make the same weekly paycheck that you would get at a standard 9-to-5 job. And if they don't perform, they don't get paid. Not to mention, there's no medical insurance. Hey, here's a 401k, and you want to retire X amount of age, you want to do this many contributions, you want to do. There's none of that. There's you, and whenever you make the most of it. Somebody earlier in the comments wrote something about somebody bitching about the amount of money Darren Tang makes. One of them, why Darren Tang makes what Darren Tang makes, he figured out the algorithm, and he's amazing at what he does on social media. He is evolving. He's in a world that he understands how to use his market value to his advantage. And you bet your fucking ass he deserves every goddamn dollar he makes.
Yep.
The same way Sam Sulik does in the bodybuilding industry, or Nikki Cass, or anybody else that's a social media influencer. My good friend in Vegas, Christina Lamoureux. Christina Lamoureux made a name for herself in the Brunswick bowling family with Radical because she is committed. She is always there every single day. She's consistent. She's over and over again. We do this show, Rob, 119 consecutive episodes. Think I give a fuck if 10 people or 1,000 people are watching? We do this to bring to light something to the table once in a while. We try and talk about something that we all love and we share a common interest in. I don't give a fuck if we're making money. I'd like to make a little bit more money doing this. Sure. And I'm sure we'll figure out a way. And maybe Darren Tang's the right kind of person, or Louis Napolis. Guys like that are maybe the kind of guys to like, hey, how do we get more outreach? Like, if you're constantly evolving in the brain, then everything will eventually come to you. Anybody that wants to stop evolution from happening is kind of like in the dark ages to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've talked to Nate and Elise about it when I saw him last week. Elise has done a fantastic job as a social media influencer, and they built their YouTube channel from the ground up. They're not huge names on either tour, but they make quality videos, and people like them because they're quality people. They can afford to go out and tour and bowl different tournaments and stuff like that because of the hard work they've put into their YouTube channel. But talking to Nate about how hard the grind is, he said he's not grinding PTQs next year. He's only going to bowl a few of the majors. He's not going to be full-time on the tour because it's that difficult to do. And I mean, we saw guys like Dio and Eric Jones and D-Ron and Boog make it out of the PTQs this year, but it's extremely hard to do. And unfortunately, Nate had to make a call, and maybe that'll change. But right now, he doesn't want to grind again next year because it's too taxing mentally and physically.
It sucks that we even have. Excuse me. It sucks that we even have to have the conversation,
right?
Because when it's all said and done, these men and ladies that are out there every week are so fucking good, dude. They are so good. I remember a long time ago, the late, great Dave D'Entremont, Double D, one of the best physical games for a big man ever to grace the lanes.
Sure.
I would put Dave D'Entremont and Steve Cook kind of like in that same category as big men that were just fucking smooth and awesome. And I remember when Dave D'Entremont won in Wichita, I want to say it was 2002. He was throwing a red fuse. He beat Chris Barnes on that show. Can't remember who else he beat on that show, but he wound up winning with a red fuse, throwing a USA Visiball for his spare ball.
Nice.
Fucking crazy, right? Yeah. But I remember Double D winning that show in Wichita. Was the inaugural event of the season. It was during the first years of the Exempt Tour. Now, all the way up until that point, I had a conversation with Double D at Sports Plus on Long Island before it was gone. And I remember when Dave said to me with the introduction of the Exempt Tour that if he didn't make it, he didn't know what he was going to do. And I'm only using Dave as an example. God rest his soul. Miss you, Dave. Everybody in the bowling world does. But I remember Dave saying to me, I must have been like 13 or 14, maybe even 15 years old. Dave used to say to me, if I don't have this, I have nothing. I can go work in a pro shop, but I don't have a college degree. I don't know any other trades. Bowling's been my entire life. Back then, prior to all these avenues in social media, online coaching, Mark Baker, camps, things along these lines, prior to that, all you really had was word of mouth, business cards, and like, hey, every time I'm in this area, I can probably give a clinic, but what's a clinic going to cost, And other than that, what did you really have as a bowler? You didn't have much. My dad was always fortunate. My dad was employed by Brunswick. He was a staffer. My dad's had a long-standing relationship with Brunswick, very similar to Parker Bone. The same way my boss, Dave Watka of the Brands of Brunswick, or Jason Couch have been loyal to Ebonite forever, and now under the umbrella of Brunswick. You can get there here and there, but you have to be involved in the industry somewhat. And it's hard for a lot of these guys who have these families, because when you're done bowling for the season, you want to go home to your family. I don't have a family other than like my family. Like, I don't have a wife. I don't have any children. I have a dog. But if I wouldn't even consider going out on tour right now, because I would have to leave Evelyn at home.
Yeah.
And that's like the bottom rung when it comes to how am I going to lay out my life, right? And this just all goes back to, imagine getting up there in the fucking 10th frame. The senior tour. Rob, you mentioned it earlier. 312 entries at the Masters. What's first place on the senior tour going to pay this week? 25 grand, maybe?
Yeah.
which means the guys who finish or lose in like the losers bracket that have to stay at Sam's Town for an extra 2 nights because they bailed out 3 matches. What are they going to make? $3,000, $4,000? Not to mention you're in Vegas, and now you got the U.S. Open next week too.
Yep.
I mean, not for nothing. Vegas is a tough place to be. I somehow managed to stay alive there for 12 years, but yeah, it's a tricky place, and I don't know, man. I'm like. We said at the top, we said even going into tonight, this was just going to be a rant and just kind of feeding off each other's shit. But I feel like we've been rambling long enough. You got an imbecile of the week? Because I certainly have one. I'm not going to show pictures or anything because I'm going to actually respect the privacy of my other best friend, not Stephanie. But I'm going to publicly say something on our show tonight that needs to be addressed.
All right, here we go.
It's time for everybody's favorite segment.
If you guys don't know how to use a seatbelt, just ring your call button and Tommy will come back there and hit you on the head with a tack hammer.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
Here's the imbecile of the week.
Some people are really stupid.
All right, Johnny, we have a couple entries this week, so this should be fun. I have a couple funny ones too, but leading off, this is from the Bowling Science group, which we love so much on Facebook. Is 33 feet of oil a sport pattern or just a way to give up bowling?
We can start with Larry's profile pic, which I actually kind of explains why he would even write something so idiotic. That was for you, Rob, and that's the extent of my political comment.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Bring back the actual comment again so I can read it this time.
I will. The post
33
was
feet of oil, a sport pattern, or just a way to give up bowling. So this is actually kind of funny. To me, 33 feet's majestic. I love short oil. It means I can use plastic or urethane and play the gutter.
Yeah.
Basically, all this means Biden supporter, what was the name? Larry Bennett.
Larry Bennett.
Larry Bennett. 33 feet is typically associated with patterns like either cheetah or I believe not wolf, not badger. What was the other short pattern that they used to use during the summer series?
Was it really a badger?
No, come on. Not badger, not wolf, bear. No, it was wolf. I'm sorry. Wolf was the short one. Bear was the U.S. Open pattern. These are the name patterns associated with the shorter oil patterns. Shorter oil patterns, typically, if you want to use the rule of 16, it's usually you subtract 16 from the length of the oil pattern. That means that's where you want the ball to be. So typically on anything shorter than, say, 36 feet, which is typical for a cheetah or a wolf pattern, what you want to do is get close to the gutter. You want to make the ball hook and stop. The best people to watch that have perfected this over the course of time are Chris Barnes, Norm Duke, Parker Bone III, just to give you advantage points from both sides of the lanes. Even go watch Jason Belmonte throwing plastic up the gutter, or even Kyle Troop when he was with Motive, like going back to Oklahoma. But typically, the shorter the oil pattern, the closer you're going to be to the gutter with a ball that's a little bit more stable down lane. Now, remember, if you even attempt to touch the side of the bowling ball, in other words, if you try and rotate it the way you would on a typical house shot, you may as well put your shit away and go back to the car. The whole goal here is to release the yo-yo, keep your thumb outside of your fingers, and stay up the back. That way the ball has to stand up quicker and go forward. I don't think you're an imbecile for your comment. I think it's actually kind of funny because there are some people who swear off short oil patterns the same way there are people that swear off long patterns. But again, as I mentioned, and Chuck just mentioned in the chat, the rule of 31 is typically you want to subtract 31 from the length of the pattern, and ideally that's where you want your zone to be. So when we take a pattern, say like shark, if shark is 47 feet and we subtract 31, you never ever want your ball to get right of 16 at the break point.
Right.
Down. It's ideally where is going to be the best spot to maximize what you're doing. So
what about
I'm assuming last thought, Rob, and then I'll give it to you. I'm assuming if Larry Biden is having a hard time going with the shorter patterns, he's either really, really over the top of it, or he's trying to use shit that's too strong or too angular.
So the comment off of this post from Bob Palancar, probably, but with your game, nobody will notice.
I'm assuming Bob knows Larry, so I'm going to have to side with Bob on this one.
I thought that was kind of funny. My next one is where am I at here? I'm going to try to put these in order. This is fucking. I'll get better organized next week.
That's okay.
I won't at all. Oh yeah, this is. Hold on. This is a funny one. God, I got 3 fucking screens and I can't.
While you're looking, I can just tell you mine.
No, I got it right here.
Okay.
Jason Kirk wants to know: are bowling pants important? I feel like they are. I was bowling in jeans for a while, but I figured out my work pants is way better. Just regular navy blue Cintas workshop pants. You know, like Dickies or khakis. What do y'all be wearing? I didn't know there was a such thing as bowling pants.
I like this guy. I like this. This is actually nowhere near an imbecile. This is a great.
No, it's just a funny one.
This is a great question. So, Jason, here's my response to you. The whole goal in bowling is get low at the foul line, right? So we never, ever, ever want to fear the splitting of the pants. I know from personal experience, a lot of people got to see my moon in all of its glory when I was rocking a pair of buckled jeans that may have been just a smidge too tight, didn't really have that flexion, and I kind of let go a really good shot that I got into, and everybody just saw that John goes commando frequently. So, and unfortunately, I can't really reach around there that often, so it was a very, very hairy display. That's all I got there. But when it comes to the best bowling pants, golf pants, man. Get yourself some Adidas 360 golf pants. Get yourself some Under Armour pants. They are dress pants visually, but they are completely stretchy, flexible. You can do anything you want in a good pair of Under Armour or Adidas golf pants, which you can get at Dick's, PGA Superstore, sometimes Macy's, but those are all pretty good choices. And I mean, Dickies to me were always a little tough, that thicker material. But the best thing about those golf pants is they typically don't wrinkle. You can wear them a couple times. They don't shrink in the wash, so they're very, very, very safe bowling pants to wear.
So this actually, I found what I was looking for. This was a comment off of that 33-foot oil pattern from Paul Fivelson. Learn how to adjust to any oil pattern. It's not the ball, it's you, plain and simple. The marketers do a wonderful job spewing their BS, so you keep buying their $250 balls. Long oil patterns are what we bowled on when the game was real. Good bowlers make adjustments, and the crybabies just succumb to the marketing and buy the next, quote, great bowling ball. What a freaking joke.
There's a lot of good thoughts in this post by Paul. The first, and there's also ones that I don't agree with. The opening line, learn how to adjust to any oil pattern. 100% agree with it. It's not the ball, it's you, is complete nonsense and completely wrong. You could be throwing the ball perfectly. You could be getting out of it clean. You could be in the right zone. If the ball that you're using does not match the condition you are on, it does not matter how good you bowl. You cannot, and here is the thought for everybody. Write this one down. You guys ready? You cannot out-bowl bad ball reaction. Period. End of story. If you have a bad ball reaction, it does not matter how good you fucking throw the ball. You cannot out-bowl it. Switch balls or zones. Figure it out. You're not going to be able to strike doing what you're doing. Marketers do a wonderful job spewing their BS, which is probably the exact reason why everybody that plays golf buys the new $600 driver every year. Oh, here's our new AI smoke, which has 7 different contact points of a sweet spot. So even though you suck, you can still be better with this new club. And by the way, next year we're going to make the AI smoke version 2.0 and get $700 more of your money. That's everybody's job when it comes to marketing. Go back. I wasn't done.
I'm sorry. My bad.
Thank you. Long oil patterns are what we bowled on when the game was real. I don't know what that means because they bowl on long and short nowadays. And
Sure.
yes, you are right, Paul. Bowlers do make adjustments. The good bowlers and the crybabies always succumb to marketing, and they do buy the next best bowling ball and never ever get a lesson or try and learn. I get that. So like I said, I agree with half of Paul's thought here, and I don't agree with half of it. I think it's a very generalized in a lot of ways. Makes some good points, but he's also wrong in a lot.
So what do you got then?
I was just going to say, like what Chuck said, and meanwhile, back in the day, most patterns were short as fuck, which is why the guys that made the show every week, like at least 4 of them went Brooklyn.
Sure.
On every single show, at least twice. You know? Okay. Hey, Jay, by the way, good to see you. And yes, we agree the website is definitely difficult to navigate.
Yes, we covered that earlier if you want to check out us in the archive. But yeah, it's the clusterfuck. So what do you have for your undisclosed?
You know, I opted against it.
Okay.
I opted against it in lieu of the idea of shooting back at a worthless person is just not worth it to me.
Okay. All right.
But I will say this, and I'm going to use this as a very, very broad statement. Somebody went out of their way to say something really, really disgusting about somebody that means a lot to me. And it was so disgusting that I actually not only had to hear it from my other best friend's mouth, we're not talking about Steph, but I had to hear it from multiple people about how gross this person was. And I just wanted to say that this person that decided to make this disgusting comment, try and get your facts right about who you're talking about first, because you have absolutely no idea what my friend has been through in their life. And I think it's kind of ugly. Like I obviously, you know, I'm no saint. I tease and bust chops all the time, right? But I would never deliberately go out of my way to make somebody feel bad, especially a person as wonderful as the person I'm talking about. And the person that I'm talking about has gone through shit that I can't imagine I would ever get through if I had to go through it, let alone would ever wish upon anybody, including my worst enemy. So you know who you are if you are listening, and whoever knows who I'm talking about, you can play this back. But this is the gentle side of me, and this is my first attempt at being sweet and letting you know that I will figure out a way to ruin your life if you ever do it to her again, you piece of shit. Fair enough?
That's about as fettered on that as you could be.
That's all I got.
No, that's I understand. Chuck, it wasn't Doc Sullivan. No.
No. Doc Sullivan could be my best man in my wedding compared to the piece of shit I'm talking about.
Wow, that's pretty rough. By the way, shout out to Troy Lint, who had to withdraw for the next few events due to his knee. He was bowling down in Florida. I don't know if the humidity down there or what happened. He's stuck on the approach and tweaked his knee again. So he's taking the time off to do it right, not grinding through it like he did last year. Even though he had great results, he's doing the smart thing, and he's going to try to get it right. But we didn't see him tonight. But if I know you're going to watch
Troy, I'm sorry I've neglected you as a friend, buddy. Please get well, get healthy, do whatever you have to do. Stay in touch with me, dude. Steph, mic drop the show. Chuck, the good thing about me is I know some people too. I'm a full-blooded Italian from Brooklyn.
Just saying.
I got some people too.
We know some people.
But thank you. I may use your people as well.
We got people everywhere. That's why we love you guys. And
what do you mean, you people? I said your people.
What do you mean?
Bruce Leroy. Who is the master? Show enough.
For the great Ocho, he is Johnny. I am Rob. You can find us on X at Rad Rob Gaming, at JPJR07, and at the Dr Ocho. Tell Ocho good night for us. I'm sure he's dealing with his lovely daughter.
Gabriella has reached the terrible twos, and she wants to stay up later and hang out and watch Miss Rachel and be on the show. So we totally respect what Ocho has to do as a dad, and also a special thanks to Ocho for rocking that beautiful apron today.
I will never ever forget that, and I know you guys won't as well. We're going through the frustrating fives right now, I guess you could call it. So it doesn't get any better as they get older. It pretty much gets worse.
Excellent.
But that's the joys of parenting. I wouldn't give it up for anybody. And again, I hope Evelyn is doing well. Has she hit the cutoff man yet?
Her name is Evelyn. and she is perfect. So I've been taking her to the beach. She loves walking on the boardwalk, mingling with people. She's perfect. She's the reason I'm alive.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, guys. The aforementioned Ryan Schaefer will be here next week. He's going to talk about his run on the string pins at the PBA 50 event, as well as the recent frustrations that he's had regarding some of the rulings in the world of bowling. So it's going to be a fun show.
Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. And he's a great guy. And like you said, super, super fucking talented. But yeah, we're going to chop it up with him next week. So tune in for that, as you guys do every week. We don't have to tell you, but.
Time out, Rob, real quick. Pull up Sparone's comment. Chuck, remember when I said I had people? I don't need them. I have a Sparone. Thanks, Johnny. Now we don't need anybody.
Love you, Sparone. And we love the rest of you guys as well. Thanks for being here. Thank you very much for being here. Yes, fuck Doc Sullivan and fuck that guy we talked about last week. I can't even remember his name. Yeah, fucking poor Doc. I really have to get in touch with that guy. But yeah, we'll be back next week with Ryan Schaefer. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week and a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to this edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. You can follow the show on Twitter at Straight Up 5 Pod. Follow Johnny Jr. at JPJR07. Follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. And follow Dr. Ocho at the Dr. Ocho. Got a question for Johnny? Send your questions to straightUp5podcast@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.